Rejoice, Denver fans. You've got your guy. Bo Nix has officially galvanized one of the league's most mediocre franchises over the last decade, giving them a much-needed savior, and arriving at a time when the roster just happens to be primed and ready to compete. His rookie season was a sight to behold, dissecting defenses with his arm and gashing them with his legs. But after a tough start, when did we finally realize just how good he is? This is the game that made Bo Nix a star. After 2 weeks of the 2024 NFL season, Broncos fans feared yards against the Seahawks in Week 1 came from a whopping 42 attempts, giving up 2 interceptions in the loss. Then, 2 more interceptions came 1 week later against Pittsburgh. It was a brutal start for the rookie quarterback, but to be fair to him, going up against a defensive genius like Mike Macdonald in your debut and TJ Watt's Steelers in Week 2 is not exactly an ideal setup. Thankfully, Bo Nix is made of tougher stuff than you or I, and he was always able to bounce back in style. He wasn't willing to accept his fate as a draft bust, and he proved many doubters wrong with a simply superb rookie season beyond that point. His 3,775 yards and 29 touchdowns through the air led all rookie quarterbacks, and his 430 yards and 4 scores on the ground proved he was a legitimate dual-threat playmaker. Like any quality quarterback, he also helped elevate his teammates. Courtland Sutton posted just the second 1,000-yard season of his career, with most of the damage coming in the latter half of the season. The pair grew into the season well, building a fantastic chemistry that saw the rookie quarterback more than willing to give his guy a chance. Sutton reaped the rewards of this by pulling in 5 touchdowns from his last 6 games, taking his total tally to 8 on the year, to go along with his 1,081 yards. Nix also helped fellow rookie Devon Vele ease into life as a pro with a rock-solid 475 yards, which is a very healthy return for a 7th-round selection. Sophomore wideout Marvin Mims and journeyman Lil Jordan Humphrey then also popped up with career bests of their own with 503 and 293 yards respectively. By no means was this an enviable receiving group for a rookie to have to work with, especially compared to Caleb Williams' weapons in Chicago, but Nix made it work and did what every good quarterback does. He raised everyone's floor and ceiling. But when did we first realize that Bo Nix was destined for greatness? For that, we have to go back to Week 5, when the 2-2 Denver Broncos faced their division rivals, the Las Vegas Raiders. This game may not have been the most eye-popping outing for Nix from a statistical perspective, but it came at a pivotal time for both him and his team after a shaky first 4 weeks. It also gave us our first glimpse of some of the things that would make his rookie season so special, ultimately helping him land 3rd in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. It was the visitors who got off to the better start, with Brock Bowers pulling in the first touchdown of his career. An inefficient drive from the Broncos then resulted in a punt right back to their division rivals, who only managed to get out of their own end zone because of a fantastic scramble by Gardner Minshew, showing off the kind of rushing ability that Broncos fans would become familiar with from their own quarterback throughout his rookie season. This helped set up a field goal later in the drive, giving the Raiders a very unexpected 10-point lead and all the momentum. The Broncos needed a response. They needed their quarterback to start making some throws. Thankfully, he did just that. With the running backs having got the team past midfield, Nix showed off his creative ability, buying time and throwing a perfectly layered pass to Lil Jordan Humphrey, who was pushed out of bounds just outside of the red zone. This is the kind of play that Broncos fans would get used to throughout the season, and something that is a highlight in Nix's game. His pressure to sack ratio of 13.3 ranks 8th best among all quarterbacks who had at least 200 dropbacks in 2024. And when he gets out of the pocket, he still has more than enough arm strength to find his target. Back to the game though. The Broncos were unable to work their way into the red zone after that nice play by Nix, settling for a Will Lutz field goal to reduce the deficit to 7. It was good to see a little life from the offense. What was concerning for the home crowd was just how threatening the Raiders looked. A few big plays from the running backs and another physical contribution from Brock Bowers swiftly moved them all the way back to the Denver 5-yard line, with an extension to their lead looking all but guaranteed. When the Raiders then ran play action, all eyes in the crowd were drawn towards the rookie tight end again, who looked to be streaking wide open to the flat, ready to collect his 2nd score of the game. Thankfully for the men in orange, Rookie linebacker Jonah Ellis had made himself as big as possible in front of Gardner Minshew, whose pass sailed over Bauer's head and into the waiting arms of Pat Surtain, who gladly galloped the full length of the field for the pick six. Instead of falling behind 3 points to 17, the Broncos were now level at 10-10. It was an unbelievable opportunity missed for the visitors. The two teams traded failed drives immediately after that, before Knicks managed to execute a 38-yard drive in the final 30 seconds of the half to set up another Will Lutz field goal. The key play of the drive once again showed off his impressive ability to navigate the pocket and find his receiver deep, this time connecting with Troy Franklin for 20 crucial yards. It wasn't a pretty first couple of quarters, but the Broncos had edged themselves in front, and they now had a halftime date with Sean Payton to help them get in the right frame of mind for an important second half. A penalty derailed the first drive of the half for the Broncos offense, but they were ready to pounce on their second, aided by a 38-yard punt return by Marvin Mims, setting the team up at the halfway line. 6 plays later, the Broncos had worked their way into the end zone. Admittedly, it didn't take anything too special from Knicks to get them there, but he still needs to hit the target, even if it's just a screen or a swing pass. Anthony Richardson would be the first to admit that they aren't always a given. Now ahead by 10, the Broncos were rolling, and things only got worse for the visitors when Minshew gave up his second interception of the day. The Broncos' swarming defensive line had made life tricky for the Raiders' signal caller, who never really had a chance of completing that pass against a young Riley Moss. One pass that definitely did have a chance of being completed came from the Broncos' rookie quarterback on the very next drive, sending up a stunning deep bomb to fellow rookie wideout Troy Franklin. On 3rd and 3, Knicks patiently waited in the pocket before ripping the ball deep on a pass that easily traveled over 50 yards in the air. It was perfectly placed in the left portion of the end zone, but Franklin was unable to hold on, depriving Knicks of one of the plays of the season. Not to worry though, Knicks was feeling it by now, and someone who felt the full impact of his flowing confidence was none other than head coach Sean Payton. Before moving the ball down near the goal line with a perfectly executed play-action fake to tight end Adam Troutman. Then, having got the drive going with a scramble, Knicks polished it off with an even more impactful effort with his legs, jumping over the line to take the lead up to 17 points. The game was all but over by now, but Knicks wasn't done yet. A third interception on the day for the Broncos defense gave him the ball back at the Raiders' 39-yard line. Knicks then effortlessly found Sutton down the left sideline for a 24-yard gain on 3rd down to move the ball into the red zone. His composure to look right immediately after receiving the snap momentarily sent the safety in the wrong direction, buying him just enough time to fit the perfectly placed ball in for Sutton. The confidence and IQ to do that, combined with the willingness to give Sutton a chance, was fantastic to see in just his 5th game. The Broncos finally had a clinical playmaker under center. Having converted that 3rd down, Knicks then iced it with a beautifully floated pass to Josh Reynolds at the back of the end zone. That took the score up to 34-10, with it ultimately ending 34-18 after one consolation touchdown and 2-point conversion for the visitors. While not a statistical explosion for Bo Nix in this game, it was a hugely significant one for his development as a rookie. It took him and the Broncos above 500 for the first time, and proved that he had more than enough arm talent to make NFL defenses pay. He spread the ball around well, completing at least one pass to 11 different teammates, which set a new franchise record. And he also became the first quarterback since Tim Tebow in 2010 to throw multiple touchdown passes and run for a score in a game. You've got to believe that a coach like Payton loves to see that from his young stud. He will absolutely see that fire as an asset he can utilize to get the best out of both Bo Nix and himself as a coach. With this confidence-boosting performance under his belt, Nix then held his own brilliantly against a Los Angeles Chargers defense 1 week later, a unit that would go on to be the best scoring defense in the entire NFL in 2024. His 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 61 rushing yards weren't quite enough to get the win, but they continued the trend of positive play from the rookie. He was then properly unleashed in the second half of the season, launching 4 touchdowns in a rampant win over the Atlanta Falcons as part of a stretch that saw him throw 21 touchdowns over the last 8 games of the season. His 75% completion rate for 284 yards and 3 touchdowns against Carolina proved he could take over a game with his arm, and his also more than capable of taking over a game with his legs. The Denver Broncos had found themselves a thrilling young dual threat weapon at the quarterback position, and the future sure is bright. While this game against Las Vegas might not have been his best from a numbers or dominance perspective, it gave us our first look at so much of what made Nick special throughout the rest of his rookie campaign, and it helped set up the unlikeliest of playoff runs. The question is, do you see the fun continuing in his sophomore season? Let us know in the comments.